Check yes, Juliet. Here's the countdown. 3, 2, 1. You'll fall in my arms now. They can change the locks. Don't let them change your mind. Lace up your shoes. Ayo, ayo. Here's how we do. Run, baby, run. Don't ever look back. They'll tear us apart if you give them the chance. Don't sell your heart. Don't say we're not meant to be. Run, baby, run. Forever will be you and me.
We're going through the night. We're going through the night.
Hi.
Yo,
That
classic.
guitar solo in there is fire.
Oh man, it's giving me Hot Topic, Yellow Rat Bastard vibes. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, baby.
Hot
Hot
Topic,
Zoomies.
Zoomies, PacSun.
Yeah.
Oh man, We the Kings. Check yes, Juliet.
We the Kings, baby.
PacSun is very underrated. If you want to dress, if you want to have Riz, as the kids would say.
I feel like they only had PacSun in malls. Is that correct? I've never seen a PacSun like outside of a mall.
We have a standalone PacSun here.
Oh shit!
Yeah, it's
okay.
It's pretty big. It's pretty big. I would say like probably, gosh, that store's got to be like 15,000 square feet. So like 10,000 square feet.
Oh shit!
Yeah, it's pretty. Big.
Yeah.
But yeah, they have a cool.
I feel like man, that's good for them because I think like, well, I'm actually pretty surprised. What is it? Because they primarily cater towards mostly kind of like the skating demographic, right?
Skating demographic, and like they'll have like it's like that weird like Western, like I'm gonna look like a hybrid athlete kind of vibe. Like they have like those hats that are like
okay.
They have like vintage kind of like t-shirt. Like, what are those like vintage nostalgic kind of? I honestly think it's playing to like people that haven't grown up fully yet. Like like when I go in that store, I'm like, fuck, I kind of want to cop all these things because there's just like
just bring back memories and stuff,
Yeah, I think nostalgia, they said, peaks at like your mid 30s. Like once you're into like your mid 30s, you just like being like, what you like what you're used to.
So like no more change. Shit, man, that means we only got 3 more years.
Yeah, because my music taste. I'm still discovering some new shit, but it's nothing too crazy.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, I think even growing up, a lot of my music taste has been always like a large variety. Like I'll listen to, some pop punk, I'll listen to some hip hop. When I moved to Charleston, I got into country a little bit. When I was in college, EDM stuff. But yeah, and even now with like whenever I work out, I'll just kind of bounce through multiple different like playlist variations.
Yeah. Oh man, what's new with you, brother? How's everything been?
Things are cranking, man. Ripping ads, looking to hire. So yeah, we're pushing through. One of the things I talked to somebody the other day about like growing the clinic, right? And I know I shared with you earlier this year in terms of like, hey, how our goal to grow the clinic and how the goal is to be able to have just like maybe 3 or 4 locations and pump it really, really full. However, I spoke with somebody else the other day that he said something that was really interesting, eye-opening to me. He's like, what you want to do is you want to basically just go fast, go with multiple different locations because it's going to be messy regardless if you go like 3 or 4 locations, blow it up really, really big, or you go multiple locations with like 300, 400K each. But he's like, hey, if your goal is to be able to like scale up to like 10 mil, it's going to be really messy no matter what. And so I talked with him, it was, literally just yesterday. And so after that, it's got me thinking about like potentially taking a little bit of a different strategic approach. But all good things to it's all fun things to think about, man.
Yeah, we are changing. Our comp structure is changing, and we have like the therapists, and if you hit your KPIs for the first year, that's awesome. And as you hit your KPIs for the first year, that second year is kind of focused on like, hey, what route do you want to take? Do you want to go more of the clinical route, or do you want to go more of
Mm.
the business route? Because so much of what we do is like clinically focused. Like you can have the amazing sales skills, but man, we have people to come in. It's just like you have to be able to help them within that first session.
Yeah.
So it'd be like lead clinician within that clinic, regional lead clinician, and then probably below that is going to be like a CTO role. So
What's CTO?
in like software, it's like chief technology officer. They're just like
Okay.
the person that keeps moving the thing forward. But like in our case, it's going to be like chief technical officer, like making sure that we're constantly revamping what we're doing. And then the other side, it's going to be clinic director, new location partner, and then regional kind of director.
Hell yeah, dude.
So
I actually we should definitely do a episode on that next week. Comp
yeah,
structure and like growth pathways. I think that'd be sick.
yeah. What we're releasing is going to be, it's definitely going to be a little bit aggressive, but like the goal is 5 locations, 2 million revenue each, and obviously get some help and see how we can first expand throughout the tri-state and then start to expand throughout the US. But I think my strength, right, is I think there's a certain type of operator that you need to be to go from 10 to 100. Like it's like you just have to be
Yeah.
like you just have to be an absolute savage. I think now it's like if I were to start fresh, I can go 0 to 1 with any industry that I wanted to be in.
Yep.
1 to 10, I think it's tough because like you have to. I think 1 to 10 you could do really well if you know your industry extremely well, like because you had to be so dialed in with your marketing, messaging, and all that stuff. The goal is to go 5 locations, 2 mil each, and then have someone that comes in and helps us expand. But as we're expanding, me being less a part of the business itself and more so growing I think about it like this. It's like every single business needs like a spokesperson, right? Or like a public figure.
Mhm.
So like I'm going to build my brand so I can still continue to be the public figure for what Moment is doing as we start to expand.
I love that. I think it's like, do you ever feel weird as like your role kind of like changes and shifts? I kind of go through these like different phases where I'm like, my role is like kind of slowly shifting and I almost kind of feel like useless to a certain extent. So I'm not like doing shit. I'm like, dude, it's such an odd sensation, you know?
I literally wrote this down on my notes. I wrote, if I think my team needs me in the clinic, then they're going to feel that energy. If my
Yeah.
energy is that I don't need to be in a clinic because it's better for the company, then that will be felt as well. So I just wrote that as a reminder to myself because I was like, man, I think part of me, well, naturally, everyone just wants to feel important, right? Or
Yep.
they think that like, hey, I always have, it's almost like I have this random chip on my shoulder where I'm like, oh man, I got to show you that I can just grind just like as much as you guys can, right? Where it's like, dude, like I was telling you before, like I just woke up this morning at like fucking 4 a.m. to take a piss, got back into bed and I was like, fuck me. I started like, my mind started going like, okay, I got to get a lot of these things done, got to prepare X, Y, Z. And I was like, fuck. So I think there's a lot that occurs when you step away from the clinic and like your initial thought is like, what are people thinking? And it's like, you can't think
Yeah.
like that. Like you got it. Like, I think we're both probably hitting the stage where it's like, it's not what's best for any individual within a company. It's just what's best for the company.
Yep. Yeah. Um, yeah, dude, I go in like once a week now just to like do the meetings and I don't even talk that much in the meeting because my clinical director Raf he like runs the meeting and so like I'm sitting there yesterday like in the clinic just like sitting there going through the meeting. I'm like, man, this is such like it's a really cool like feeling, right? I just feel like, hey, everything's able to kind of run smoothly without you, but it almost kind of hurts a little bit of the heart knowing that, hey, you're not needed.
Yeah. I think the best thing to do, it's like, one, I forgot who. I think it was Dom from Raw Nutrition that shared it. It's like
Yeah,
you don't
avocado.
need to be the face of it to be running the show. Like you just got to fucking run. You can be in the back end and running the show.
Yeah.
And there's a pro and con to both, right? Like I think the hard part, like it's gonna sound like fucking first world problems. People are like, "What's the hard part about being Andy?" Is to like I have to always be on, right? Because like
Mm.
people have like certain expectations of me. So like if I meet someone in the street, I might be having a bad day, and I'll be like, "Yo, what's popping, brother? How's everything going?" Right? Like I just like put it on, or like
Turn
if
it
we have
on.
to
Yep.
do a webinar or a seminar, or mentorship call or anything like that. It's like, boom, you got to fucking turn it on, even though in the back end, you're like, oh, fuck. Whereas like sometimes I'm like, yeah, I wish I could just be cranking away at the computer, no emotion to stuff. But
Yeah.
I think every company does truly need to be like some sort of like, they need some sort of ambassador. Like even when Alex Ramosi was doing the $1 million the money models, it was the Green Man that
Yep.
came out, right? They used the Green Man for stuff. So it's like most big companies have some sort of ambassador. I think that is really important to build.
I think a lot of times what we're seeing a lot now is all these companies all have some sort of like are shifting more towards kind of like a personal brand, right? Because people want to feel connected to the person behind the company. And so I think slowly we'll slowly start to see more and more people kind of building, this like ambassador or face of the company. And I think Alex talks a lot about like key man risk, but that's the whole point of what a personal brand is, but that's completely okay. Right. So there's like pros and cons. It's like you almost kind of want to play into its strength. But then, yeah, when you build a personal brand, there's like so many multiple different layers that you can go into. Like Alex Ramosi, he can basically, dip out of acquisition if he wants, go start a completely brand new company, and then he will have people like buy his shit just because of the fact that he's Alex Ramosi.
Yeah, I actually had I was reading some of the DMs, and this up like these upcoming cohorts, I'm not going to be the person doing the weekly moment mentorship calls anymore. Emilio is going to be taking one on our team. He's our fucking savage clinician, and then Grace is obviously doing the other one. And someone was like, "Yeah, but I want to learn from Andy," and I'm like, I wanted to be like, but I'm like, dude, I'm going to be doing one monthly call at a time that's more respectful of my own schedule to make sure that like I can still provide support where I need to. But the whole thought process of like taking yourself out of it could be daunting because you'll get a comment like that. But honestly, if people are coming in because they're trying to build a connection with you opposed to learning what you're delivering, it's not the right person.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You got a cool segue?
Yeah, when you're looking at building a connection with somebody, right? Obviously, one of the people that you have a connection with is your significant other. And I think oftentimes when we're talking about the price, the pitch, the program, the main thing that comes up is the spousal objection. Hey, I'm connected with you, but I'm also connected with somebody else on a deeper level that is going to help me be a little bit more responsible for my finances. Or maybe I'm not responsible for finances myself, and I always got to get the okay. So, Peter, how do we feel about that one? That was kind of out of
I
nowhere.
think you saved it, bro. I honestly had no. I was like, man, we're talking about personal brand. We're talking about ambassadorship. We're talking about removing ourselves from the roles. I'm like, shit. How am I? Are we going to connect this into tying into spousal objections at the end? But I like that. I like the connection piece, man. 9 out of 10 because I had absolutely nothing for it. I was just gonna. I was like, all right, we're raw dogging right into it, man.
Listen, I'm not gonna fucking. I like to always call it straight out. There are things that like I'm very, very like keen on, and like, yep, I love that objection, and I can handle it. Dude, spousal is the fucking hardest by far of all of them.
100%. Yeah, it's spousal sucks because really you don't know if like there it's an actual legit hey like the other person makes a decision or it's just potentially hey that they're diffusing or deferring the responsibility onto the person who isn't here. And so I think a couple episodes ago we talked about hey making sure you kind of screen it out at the very beginning. But let's say at the end, or even if they did say hey like I this is something I will need to look through my spouse at the end, at least you're a little bit more aware about it. So anyways,
Yo,
first things first, right? They
I got
drop it.
I
Oh,
gotta
go
get
ahead.
the
Yeah.
stories though real quick. Because I joined a mastermind group in December, and I'm on a sales call. And it wasn't really a mastermind group. It was like just learning ads and kind of funnels. And it was a 4-month intensive for 14K. Guy pitched me the price. I'm like, yo, legit. I just have to ask my wife first because like I don't run the business myself. He goes, gotcha. And he's about to go through an objection. I'm like, no, it's okay. I'm literally gonna open my door. I'm like, yo, Christy, is it cool if I pay 14K for 4 months? She's like, you think it's gonna be worth it? I'm like, yeah. She goes, all right, go do it. And I close the door. I'm like, all right, we're good. You process it. The second one, Peter and I follow this guy. He's got a little bit of motions, Asian kid. And I get on a sales call with one of his sales guys because, like, for me, I'm like, all right, next step is like we got to build our organic content strategy, because if we can crush the organic content strategy for go-getters, it's going to look awesome, right? Because like it's so lifestyle based, and then for our personal brand, it'll do good. And the guy is heavy objection handling. I'm like, brother, this consulting group I run with two other people. I have no idea what's in the finances. I just know, what we're doing, what we're building. So I just got to get the okay from my business partners before I move forward. He goes, gotcha. So let me just like, what happens if your business partner says no? I'm like, brother, I don't care. I just have to, I'm not making a decision today. I can't just fucking, I don't even have the card on me, right? Because like, at that time, you only had the card. So I was just like, brother, I will respond to you. I promise. I haven't responded to him yet. But sometimes it's not the spousal objection, it's the business partner objection.
Yeah, man, luckily for me, Catherine's not really involved in any of the businesses. So a lot of times, every time I, get on calls or go through things, they always ask. I'm like, nope, no, just me. I think for the most part too, because I know how much I hate getting it myself. I always try and make sure I like show up to the call knowing that like, hey, if it's the right fit, I'm gonna go ahead and buy it. And if it's not, like, hey, I'm just gonna straight tell them, hey, like it's not a right fit, versus kind of like deferring to like spouse or something like that. There's all right. One quick story on that. There's probably about a year and a half ago, I joined a sales objection handling coaching group, and like I knew the guy was like, he's really good, but I for like shits and giggles at the end, I was just like, all right, yeah, that sounds good. Let me just go chat with my wife real quick, or I think fiance at the time, just to like see what he says, and he literally just like deadpans me. He's like, are you being for real right now, or just kind of just like kind of pull my shoestring, see what I'm gonna say? I'm like, yeah, you're right. I just kind of want to see what you were gonna say and stuff.
And then he was like, I just fucking handled your objection.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, and ended up, I think it was like a 10K PIF, but yeah, just paid full for it, and everything. But yeah, spouse is one of those things where if it is a true legitimate one, it is very hard to handle because the other person just isn't in the room. For our practice, we have pelvic floor, and that's by far the number one most common objection that we do get. And we've kind of changed our framework a little bit over the past couple of years. We used to kind of have it be where if we knew the decision maker wasn't going to be there and they weren't able to make the decision, we would just go ahead and defer the pitch. But we ended up kind of seeing, hey, that dragged out our sales cycle a little bit longer. And then also too, sometimes trying to get the spouse on a phone call or come back in with a follow-up visit for the eval would just be like really a much larger hassle. So we still just, even if the decision maker wasn't there, we'd still push or pitch, knowing that we would push for some sort of deposit at the end. But similar to all the other objections we faced before in the past, first thing we got to do, hey, agree, disarm them, and then loop back to value. So, hey, I got right spousal side, or hey, business partner side. How do you feel about the program? All right, do you feel like it's actually beneficial? They go through with it, and then from there, now we can really kind of start to see like, hey, like what do we, where should we go from there from next? One thing that I like to do first before kind of fast forwarding to, hey, like, well, what if they say no? Like, what would you do then? Is really just kind of reversing the roles, so they can, hopefully see, hey, if their partner were in the situation, they would be supportive of them. There's no reason why their partner would be unsupportive of them. So the way we go about this, like, yeah, cool, not a problem. Go chat with your, wife. Go chat with your husband. I guess let's say the roles were reversed. So this is what we refer to as like the role reversal scenario. Let's say your wife, has been dealing with shoulder pain. She came home and let you know, hey, like, I found this really great PT place, Dr. Andy and his team. They're really going to be able to help me, get back to working out without shoulder pain. It is going to be a little bit, more pricey though, but I think it's worth it. If they came to you and they said that, would that be something that you would be supportive of them moving forward with so that they can actually get their shoulder resolved? For the most part, they're usually going to say, oh yeah, 100%. And then from there, it's like, well, if you would be supportive of them, what makes you feel like, hey, they would initially be supportive of you? And I think a lot of times, like really when it comes to spousal, like people almost project their own like framework or their own mindset of thinking like, hey, like this isn't something that I deserve, or this isn't something that I am worth going through. And so I'm going to make that same projection on my significant other. Whereas in reality, 100%, like maybe not 100% of the time, the majority of the times when it comes to their health, like partners are always very, very supportive of, their partners, their significant other making the best decision for when it comes to their health and their body. So I like kind of going through reversing the rules just to kind of get them thinking a little bit differently first, before proceeding into the next step, which is really kind of, I like kind of just fast forward to say, hey, like when we do go chat with our spouse, is it more so, to kind of loop them in, or is it more so to kind of ask for permission? Hopefully if we kind of screen this out at the beginning, we already kind of have an idea. And then, if it is, hey, like loop them in, hopefully push for the close from there. But if it is a true permission, then we ask them, hey, like, well, not a problem. I guess like when you do ask them and, let's say they're super supportive, they're on board, they want to move forward, then we can rock and roll, get started. However, let's just say they're having an absolutely god awful day. Worst case scenario, they say no. Like, what would we do then? And then if it's like, hey, can't do it, then we're kind of stuck, right? Because they're not the true decision maker. But at least then we can fast forward to the point, the moment of truth, right? Because spousal is really just a delay. Hey, like, let's have a conversation with our spouse, whether it be tonight, tomorrow, in the future, and let's play out both cases. They say yes, awesome. What's the road path that we're gonna proceed with? If they say yes, if they say no, what are we gonna do then? But yeah, how would you? Anything that you kind of want to add in from there?
No, I would say like this is the one where it's like it's super tough. I think I agree with everything that you said. It's like making sure that's still the right fit. The role reversal is great. As I've done more therapy, right, and like this kind of stuff, I've realized what you just said. It's like people have a lot of low self worth, so they project
Yeah,
like I might not be the breadwinner, or I'm not making as much, so like I shouldn't be prioritizing myself in this regard, and it's hard to overcome. And the thing that sucks, and I'm putting this out there, is like sometimes you overcome the objection, they go back at home, massive argument happens, and then you have to do it again. And sometimes it's like legit, people will be like, yeah, I can't follow through. We've had that happen before where it's like, yeah, my wife is
mm,
furious. I still think you have to do your due diligence, because there's a lot of times where like if you do this, let's say 100 times, and 5 times it leads to like it ending up being like a refund, I still will take that because you've helped 95 people that otherwise wouldn't have made the jump. And like that's
100%.
you have this like in the back of your mind, you always have to be thinking like it's not going to be perfect, and there's going to be times where people feel like, oh, this fucking sucks. But I think about the same thing. It's like someone had messaged like, yo, do you guys ever lose? I'm like, technically we always win because that's what our slogan is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not going to tell you that we bat perfect, right?
Oh, we
We've onboarded
definitely
like
not.
80 people by now, and there's 3 to 4 people that have gone just want their ROI back, right? Their same exact what they put in, they got back. And like for us, that's a failure because obviously we're trying to give you at least 5 to 10x of what you're paying. So yeah, it's like, but does that mean we have to stop everything that we're doing? It's like no, it's like if we are at 4 out of 80, we're hitting at a 95% success rate with the people that are onboarding. And I'd rather be honest about that stuff because it's like every single time we get information, if sometimes it doesn't work for certain people, you pick up these notes. And I'm curious, have you like seen that at all where like there are certain times where I don't even push as much?
Yeah, I think a lot of times if you kind of get the vibe that hey, they're not bought in, then like I won't even really kind of bother. And also too, especially like if they are forthright with it at the beginning and they like, hey, like I literally can't make a decision without looping them, then I like won't push that hard because I know like, hey, like they're like, what are we gonna do here? The true decision maker isn't here. A lot of times it really just comes down to kind of like the person in front of you. You should be able to kind of get a good gauge just based off of how they're responding. Like, do they seem excited? If so, I'm going to push a little bit harder. I'm going to go to war for this guy. Especially if they really see the value in it. If they're like really kind of like just like, hey, like they're out of it, they're not really like tuning into kind of what you're saying. Then probably just like, hey, like it's all good. We're not going to push that hard. But yeah, typically, if it comes to a stall, we're always just going to kind of loop back to, hey, like, you know your spouse the best, on a scale of, 0 to 10, how likely do you feel like they are to, move forward with supporting you to get this issue resolved? If it's anything more than a 5, we're going to push for, hey, like a refundable $300 or $400 deposit down towards the program. This way they can't lose. And yeah, like Andy said, like there's been plenty of times where we've done the deposit, or even done like the first installment, and like they go back and they're like, hey, like yeah, like spouse unfortunately says it's a no go, so we would just refund it back. But at least like, hey, we get some sort of commitment on that day based on what they are able to go through. And sometimes depending on the relationship, they may have like a certain amount that they can't cross before they have to kind of loop the other person in. And so if we are having an open conversation about that, we find out, hey, it's anything over $1,000. We have to kind of talk with our significant other before we can spend. Awesome. We're going to respect that. I'm going to stay below that $1,000. And hey, it's all good. Let's do maybe a $900 deposit then. Right? You feel good about this. This also respects the boundaries that you guys have set for yourself. And then from there, go back. Let's have a chat with them. Happy to jump on a phone call with them if they have any other additional questions as well too. But at least this way, and we always frame the deposit like this: hey, this way we don't lose any momentum that we've built from today, and we get you on board into the program, into the app, everything like that, etc.
Yeah, the one thing I always kind of try to figure out is like, one, hey, obviously you're super stoked about this, right? Like, because the first thing you're doing is diffusing. You're super stoked about this. When you speak to your spouse about this, like, do you feel like you're going to be able to articulate this well, or do you feel like we should get on a call together? Because one thing that happens is like if the person goes in and says, yeah, I'm going to go see a physical therapist, it's going to be X amount of money, but whoa, we could probably find something cheaper, right? But do you feel confident articulating the fact that like what we do is very different from like what you've experienced in the past? Another thing, it's like, has your significant other ever been to physical therapy before? Right? Because if they have, you could probably point to some of the frustrations and they'll have a better understanding of why this is different. But you always want to say this in the tonality. It's like, hey, I'm on your side. If you need me to get on a call to kind of talk to your husband, wife, or significant other about this, like I'm more than happy to be there for you for that. But if you're like feeling confident, like just curious, like what would you say?
Another two funny responses that I've heard before in the past from prospects that got me thinking is just like, what happens if we just don't tell them? What happens if we just don't tell our significant other? And so I remember this clearly because it like took me like so off guard. And he was just like, the prospect is sitting in front of me. He's like, yeah, you know what? Let's do this. I need to give you a different card though, because I don't want my wife to find out and kill me. So he said that, and then the other one was just like same thing. Hey, all good. Let's move forward. I need to let's go ahead. Let's do the 3-month installment though. This way, it flies underneath the radar, and my wife doesn't kill me. So I'm assuming. So based off that, I kind of understand. Hey, all right. So it seems like anything like 3K and above, they probably have it probably trigger something. Significant other will find out, but the installment, hey, we're underneath the radar, we're all good, everybody's happy, right? And the same thing with the other one. It's like, hey, let me go ahead, let me give you a different card. Maybe it's like my own personal card for his own discretionary spendings. Let me go ahead, let me put that on that card instead. But ever since I heard that, I was just like joke around, tell my closer. I'm like, hey, like you could always just casually jokingly throw it out there. It's like, hey, you know what? Like if they're gonna say no, like what happens if we just don't tell them?
Hey, shout out to Mohib. Never told his never told his wife about GGC. Don't
Yeah.
support that stuff. But I think when the magic happens, if you have to book a call, right? So pitch if they really are asking for what the program price would look like, but don't pitch until if they agree. Like, hey, you know what? Let's just get everyone on a call first. But when you get on a call and maybe they're aware of the price already, don't fucking pretend, like don't beat around the bush, right? Like address the fucking elephant in the room to make it way more chill of a conversation. It's like, hey, how's it going? I know you're probably thinking like, what in the world, right? This amount of money for physical therapy. So just wanted to clear the air, just like be here as a resource if you have any questions. Because if you make a joke out of it, one, they're gonna let their guard down. But if you try to immediately defend your stance without them understanding that, like, yeah, your response, it's totally normal. We've been here before and I'm here to help you. That kind of candor goes way better than like the opposite, being super defensive. Like your wife really needs our help.
Yeah, well, another thing too kind of goes along with that. and this is something that I learned from one of my SDRs, but she'll say that whenever she has to say something a little bit more ballsy or gutsy, she'll follow it up with like a giggle. So it's like, well,
Christy
what do
does
you
that
mean? What do you
really
mean you
well.
have to talk to your wife? Ha ha ha. And she has this like very like cute, a little bit higher toned like natural voice. And I've listened to her calls. I'm like, this is so good. Like she can get away with saying so many different things, just the way like she frames her tonality and the whether it's a nervous giggle or an intentional giggle that she'll do with that. But yeah, if you're a girl out there, like you guys just have a more like natural like way of going about sales that is like absolute killer.
It's so fucking underrated. I listen to Chrissy take call like she triages someone like the spousal objections and stuff like that. I'm like, fucking a, you're so good,
So
right?
good.
It's so like you can like have this like you say something, you address the elephant in the room, and you kind of crack up. It's like, yeah, so I'm just here to answer questions. Like, what's up,
Yeah.
right? And like if a dude does that, it just comes off. It does not come off the
No,
same.
way differently.
Yeah. So as a guy, like you literally got to be like, listen, I totally get where you're coming from, right? Like this is, you're probably thinking this is a ton of money for physical therapy, and you're not wrong. But I want to make sure that you feel confident moving forward with these things before, you're like, hey, let's just try something else because you can obviously go into more of an insurance-based physical therapy clinic, and while it may be, less expensive, you end up not really getting an outcome. So it's kind of like burning money.
Yeah, I used to hate spousal, but now I kind of just understand, hey, like, worst case scenario, we just ask for a deposit or that either that or they say no, which is totally fine. But yeah, I think like as long as you guys kind of like walk them through the different frameworks, help them understand, hey, like for the most part, their spouse is probably most likely going to be on board. And if so, like, hey, like let's go. You can't lose in the scenario. It's a refundable deposit. Then it's like that's all it is. And at the end of the day, like we're just trying to help them. Make sure they can get the outcome that they're looking for. And so, a big term that we kind of talk about a lot is just, hey, like staying in the pocket. Right? When you feel uncomfortable about it, can you still like care about the person enough to want to continue to have the conversation, help them navigate the obstacle or objection or concern that they might have that's preventing them from being able to get to their dream outcome, dream goal.
The one thing I try to go back to as like one of the North Stars is like when people are giving you an objection, a lot of times it's just more and more like they need more information,
Yeah.
right? So if you go into it like having to defend versus support, like sometimes the spouse just needs more information as to what's going on. It's usually a more information thing. They're completely fine with the price, or like, hey, this actually sounds really good. We just have to make it work in a certain way,
Yeah.
where then it becomes a financial objection.
We haven't done this yet, but I think one of the things I always say we're gonna think about it and potentially test it out, but just like having them know, hey, like if you need somebody else to make a decision for you, like make sure they show up. The reason why I say I think like we haven't done it yet because I feel like if we put that in there, it almost kind of triggers and lets them know, hey, like this is probably gonna be something that's like super super expensive, and like they don't even make it in for the eval, and we can't like demonstrate value. So
Yeah.
I go back and forth on it all the time in terms of whether or not we should like
You want to know
put
what the
more like educational reasons, like, hey, like you're gonna make a decision on this on the initial evaluation. So if you need somebody else, like make sure they're there. But then it's like if the spouse is also like working like really weird hours, you also have that to navigate as well too. So as of now, I think like I'm pretty happy with how our closing team currently handles spousal objection. But that is something that I'm always thinking about, like how can we continue to make their job easier.
the one thing that can be the ultimate flex, right? But hey, listen, like I can tell you till I'm blue in the face how we're different. But just curious, are you dealing with anything yourself? Say, listen, let's not even talk about your wife right now. Let's get you in for an eval so that you can feel the difference. And get, then boom. What if you walk out and there were two pips, right? That would be the craziest flex.
It's always so good whenever we see somebody show up for an eval and their spouse like also rolls up with them, because we know for sure like, hey, their spouse definitely cares enough about what's going on to actually want to show up, take time of the day to show up and see what's going on, to sit in on the eval with them. And then also B, we know, hey, for sure, like a decision will be made at the end of the eval because both parties are there.
Yeah.
And yeah, like kind of what Andy said, we've actually had this occur twice now, which I think is really interesting. Where as we're going through the initial evaluation, the spouse, because they also, I think potentially they showed up because they also had something going on, so they're interested in seeing what the process is. They learn so much just from like us explaining like what the overall like root causes. They're like, yeah, like I want to like I know how much the program is. Like basically sign me up for a program too. And we're like, all right, all good, yeah, let's go ahead, let's get you in for an eval. We want to make sure we customize it for you and everything like that. But I think it's awesome whenever somebody else shows up with them as well.
The one thing to think about, it's like I find that females are typically more bought into males most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and if I've treated so many wives where it's like, oh, I from the wife, I end up working with the whole family. Whereas like a male, it's very rare. I find that it's less common that a male will be like, oh yeah, I want you to come see my wife. It's almost most of the time, it's like 80% of the cases, I'm always treating the mom first, and I end up treating the whole family. Like the mom is like,
Well, I think it's because like guys are just inherently stubborn. Like guys don't like to admit that they have a problem, whereas like women are just like, oh yeah, like come fix me, like, and then I'll convince my husband to come in, etc. They bring the home, but like yeah, like moms, they're the gateway to the whole neighborhood, to the whole family, man. So
dude,
moms run the world.
moms run the world and fucking savages. But yeah, I think to tie everything together, the spousal objection, still same thought process, right? Diffusing, redirecting to the North Star, and then kind of like the role reversal, I think is huge in that one because you start to realize it's like, one, your significant other probably would do the same thing for you, right? If you're in a healthy relationship. And from there, if none of that stuff works, you can always get on a call. But you never want to leave it at like, hey, let me know what they think, right? Always, always book a call.
Yeah, for sure. And I think if you guys kind of just reframe your own thinking about objections, right, and don't necessarily view it as such like a negative thing, and view it as like an opportunity to be able to continue to help them, like I think how you approach sales will be completely different than how you potentially currently view it.
Yeah. I think always talking to like a male, it's a lot of disarming. And with a female, it's usually more information.
Yeah.
That's just from experience though.
Well, dude, I think that does that wrap up our sales objection series.
I think that wraps up the series.
Guys, let us know how'd you like the series. I mean, shit, that was like, was that like an eight episode thing, or six to eight?
Seven series, 7 parts. I'm fucking tired of talking about this shit, bro.
Damn, we got 7 hours worth of sales info for y'all.
7-part series. Let's talk about something else next week. I can't fucking wait.
No, we're talking about salary, comp, and
Comp.
I think that'd be good. That'd be we can do a new series on it.
No more series, brother. We gotta switch it up.
Actually, yeah. Well, I mean, like, what are your thoughts on the series? Do you like the series or?
Oh, listen, I'm gonna address the elephant in the room. The reason why we did the series is because when you spend 8 hours with somebody, you feel more connected to them and you're more ready to buy. And listen, you've spent already 7 hours with us if you've listened to all 7 parts. So you're probably thinking like, dang, I probably should sign up for a strategy call. And if you're serious about your biz, you want to get it running, listen, in the link of this podcast, you can sign up for a strategy call. You talk to someone on our team, and they'll kind of audit where you're at and make sure that you're a good fit. There's a very, very specific person that we'd like to join our group. And if you're someone that just needs to be told exactly what to do and you'll execute, yes, you'll fucking crush it. And chances are, if you're in a group where it's like, yeah, they've been telling you the same exact thing to do for the past year and you're frustrated, you would do really well with GGC because we come up with some creative fucking ideas to grow and scale.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Make sure you chat with your spouse too before booking the call.
Yeah.
Or bring them to the call.
Yeah. And that's just fucking me delaying gratification. I'm like, yo, Peter, I don't want to talk about objection handling anymore. But that's why we're doing it. to get you to join GGC. So what do you think, guys? It's time to book a call.
Peace.
Peace.